Our nation was born in rebellion against tyranny. We are the fortunate heirs of those who fought for America's freedom and then drew up a remarkable charter to protect it against arbitrary power. The Constitution begins with the words, "We the people." The government gathers its authority from the people, and the governors are as obligated to uphold the law as the governed. That was revolutionary. Listen now to the voices of some people who believe the fight for freedom isn't over.
I'm a citizen of this country. That's the highest thing you can be. And you better tell me the truth. Because we don't run a secret country, and we don't run a secret government. And
Roger Wilkins. He and his family have long battled for a more just America.
if we continue these policies to rob ourselves in order to feed this national security monster, we are going to continue to degrade American life. That's real national security. National security for the United States is making the United States a good place to live where people want to be active, intelligent, involved citizens. For people at the top to say this world is so complicated and so dangerous, just a few of us need to govern it and hold the secrets in, and we will tell you what's good for you, that is moving down the road to dictatorship.
Okay? It represents roughly 2 weeks of... The national security argument now interferes with every American's right to understand its government. That's what secrecy is all about these days.
Scott Armstrong is director of the National Security Archive, a public interest group devoted to a more open government. He has pored over the Iran-Contra evidence and believes Congress has failed to deal with the fundamental constitutional issues.
The inability of Congress to interpret the Article I powers that they have over foreign policy in relationship to the President's powers under Article II, and to say, wait a minute, this isn't the way the Constitution was set up. This isn't what the Founding Fathers intended. The Founding Fathers never intended for George Washington to be able to go to George III and say, I don't like what Congress has done here. Give me some money. I'll hire some mercenaries, and we'll call it American foreign policy. That would have been treason.
Gail Jensen, Mary Lee Fithian, and Nancy Jones live in Minneapolis. Last summer, they organized citizens around the state to monitor the Iran-Contra hearings as a way of increasing public awareness.
The church I go to, we have a hymn that the words go something like, I wish that my eyes had never been opened. Because if they'd been opened, I'd have to do something about it. And I think that that's a problem with a lot of people in this country, is that they don't want their eyes to be opened because they're very comfortable, very secure. And if their eyes are open, they're going to have to do something.
The people that we're talking to have quite, they recognize that we're only talking about subverting the Constitution, that's all.
The American people are part of the checks and balances. It's not just the executive branch and the Congress and the judicial branch. The people have a role, too.
I grew up just feeling as though the system out here is pretty hunky-dory. All you have to do is admire it and respect it and let it keep operating. We'll always have freedom, we'll always have democracy, we'll always have free elections. I've got a question, that's going to continue, unless I decide to go for it and keep on effecting change.
Pete Edstrom is a dairy farmer in Wisconsin, a believer in the American way. With his pastor and other farmers, he started a newspaper to rally their neighbors to community action.
If there's anything I want my children to understand, it's the concept of the old town meeting type of politics where people do it. People are involved. People are informed. I think that probably the problems this country are in right now, the hearings are a classical example, are clearly a case of an American people not having been involved.
I would like to welcome all of you here this afternoon to the Wisconsin Valley Fair.
Walter John Chilson is a Republican state senator in Wisconsin, a popular conservative who says the hearings this summer forced him to reconsider his support for U.S. policy in Central America.
When you've been a Republican for 20 years and you like to say that the Republicans are the best guys, the guys in the white hats, and the recognition that indeed in this very important situation that wasn't the case, that the policy was dead wrong, I felt an obligation to speak out.
Senator Chilson's change of heart was personal and political. At the urging of Liz, their daughter, he and his wife went to Central America to see for themselves. When they returned, he was still critical of the Sandinistas in Nicaragua, but convinced that an American-backed war on peasants was not the way to stop communism.
There's a great danger that in this country we would accept automatically things that are said to us in a doctrinaire fashion, you know, that we've got to be fighting communism, and so that can be the whitewash that can cover up a multitude of sins. I think that's a strong evidence of that is what was going on, and we can't be fighting for democracy in Central America and seeing it lost back here at home, you know, and seeing it shredded back here at home.
It doesn't have to be. The people who wrote this Constitution lived in a world more dangerous than ours. They were surrounded by territory controlled by hostile powers on the edge of a vast wilderness. Yet they understood that even in perilous times, the strength of self-government was public debate and public consensus. To put aside these basic values out of fear, to imitate the foe in order to defeat him, is to shred the distinction that makes us different. In the end, not only our values but our methods separate us from the enemies of freedom in the world. The decisions we make are inherent in the methods that produce them. An open society cannot survive a secret government. Constitutional democracy, you see, is no romantic notion. It's our defense against ourselves, the one foe who might defeat us. I'm Bill Moyers.
I've been waiting for something to happen, for a week or a month or a year, with the blood and the ink of the headlines and the sound of the crowd in my ear. You might ask what it takes to remember when you know that you've seen it before, where a government lies to a people and a country is drifting to war. There's a shadow on the faces of the men who sent the guns to the wars that are fought in places where their business interest runs. On the radio, talk shows, and the TV, you hear one thing again and again, how the USA stands for freedom, and we come to the aid of a friend. But who are the ones that we call our friends? These governments killing their own, or the people who finally can't take anymore, and they pick up a gun or a brick or a stone, and there are lives in the balance